My name is Leona Graves, and 6 months ago, I thought I was giving my daughter the life she deserved by moving us into Crestwood Glen, a beautiful, gated community nestled just outside of Arlington, Virginia. My 12-year-old daughter, Nova, lives with cerebral palsy and uses a walker and specially designed adaptive gear to navigate daily life. After my husband passed away 3 years prior, I devoted myself to two things: raising Nova and using my position as senior counsel for the Justice Department, specializing in disability rights, to make the world safer and fairer for kids like her. When I got promoted last spring, I found a house in Crestwood Glen close to Nova's school and her physical therapy center. The community advertised itself as inclusive and family-friendly, and the homes were picture-perfect. I thought it was the beginning of a brighter chapter. I was wrong. The trouble started before we'd even unpacked. As the movers hauled boxes through the front door, a woman in a pearl-white pantsuit strode up the path like she owned the place. She introduced herself as Beverly Danvers, the 58-year-old president of the Homeowners Association. Her hair was wound into a bun so tight I wondered if it was causing her headache-inducing scowl. She handed me a massive binder of community regulations and eyed Nova's portable ramp and walker like they were graffiti on the Mona Lisa. "Welcome to Crestwood Glen," she said, her voice lined with condescension. "We hold ourselves to the highest standards. Everyone does their part to maintain our aesthetic integrity." I smiled politely and introduced myself and Nova. "She's excited about the community pool," I added, hoping to find common ground. Beverly blinked. "Ah, yes. Well, do be aware our amenities are for light recreational use only. We don't accommodate special modifications." Her tone made it clear that by special, she meant unwelcome. I assured her that we brought our own accommodations and cited the ADA. Her lips thinned. "Be sure to review Section 22 about medical equipment visibility. We like to preserve a certain atmosphere." The first major conflict erupted when I submitted plans for a permanent brick ramp and iron handrails. The design blended seamlessly with the home, done by an architect known for tasteful, accessible renovations. 3 days later, a rejection letter arrived citing aesthetic incompatibility and subtly suggesting we seek alternative housing more suited to our needs. I filed a request for a board meeting. The day of, I sat in the community center conference room as Beverly presided at the head of the table like a judge at a sentencing. "We sympathize with your situation," she said, "but your proposal undermines the residential character of our neighborhood. We can't allow institutional-looking modifications." I calmly explained the legal precedent. Under the ADA and Fair Housing Act, reasonable accommodations must be granted. She smiled as though I were a child explaining unicorns. "Perhaps Crestwood Glen isn't the best fit for your family." Despite objections from one sympathetic board member, Beverly called a vote and falsely declared the request denied. I installed the modifications anyway. The retaliation began immediately. Daily fine notices, threatening letters, and anonymous complaints. Nova and I became the HOA's main targets. But the moment that changed everything came during the community's spring festival. Nova had been thrilled to show off her artwork at the community art exhibit. She wore her favorite blue dress and brought her medical backpack containing vital medication, her communication tablet, and adaptive art tools. While she was setting up, Beverly stormed over. "That equipment needs to be stored out of sight," she demanded. "It's medical equipment," I replied, "and it stays with my daughter." Beverly sneered. "This is a community event, not a hospital. We can't have the atmosphere disrupted." Before I could respond, she lunged for the bag and yanked it from Nova's chair. The strap snapped. Medication scattered. Nova's communication tablet crashed to the pavement, shattering the screen. The crowd froze. One neighbor, Marisol Vega, a professional photographer, had been documenting the festival. Her camera clicked rapidly, capturing every detail. Beverly's rage, the destroyed backpack, Nova's shock. Darius King, a teacher in the neighborhood, helped gather Nova's spilled supplies. Others rushed to help. I faced Beverly. "You just destroyed federally protected medical equipment. You assaulted my daughter and violated the law." I pulled my DOJ credentials from my purse and raised them. "You just committed a civil rights violation in front of a dozen witnesses." Beverly paled. "You think your job gives you special treatment?" she hissed. "No," I said. "It gives me knowledge. And I know exactly what your actions mean." That night, I filed formal complaints. Marisol turned over her photographs and video. Neighbors offered written statements. A pattern emerged. 3 families with disabled members had left Crestwood Glen after similar abuse. Emails between Beverly and the treasurer Harold Finch exposed a policy of targeting disabled residents to preserve neighborhood value. One read, "If that girl becomes a fixture here, more will come. Drive them out." With this evidence, I called an emergency HOA meeting. I brought 2 DOJ colleagues. I played the video on a projector. Faces in the audience turned pale. "You now face a choice," I told the residents. "Continue under leadership that has exposed you to legal liability, or act now to protect your community." The vote to remove Beverly and Harold passed overwhelmingly. Beverly was escorted out. She glared at me. "You think you've won? People like your daughter don't belong in places like this." "Actually," I said, "this place belongs to her now." In the months that followed, Darius became the new HOA president and created an inclusion committee. Nova was its youngest member. The Justice Department entered into a consent decree with the HOA mandating accessibility training and federal monitoring. Marisol's photos of Nova became part of a traveling exhibit titled Strength in Color. Nova's artwork was showcased nationwide. The girl who had once tried to make herself invisible was now a symbol of resilience and talent. Beverly was later indicted for embezzlement. Investigators discovered she siphoned HOA funds through a landscaping shell company registered to her estranged sister. She was fined and forced to sell her home. We later learned her cruelty may have stemmed from her past. Her own daughter had been institutionalized due to a disability Beverly never accepted. Rather than care for her, Beverly buried the truth and lashed out at others who reminded her of it. It didn't excuse her, but it explained the depth of her bitterness. Meanwhile, Crestwood Glen was reborn. Ramps were welcomed, not hidden. Adaptive tools were normalized, not scorned. Nova thrived. She gave speeches, helped other kids feel welcome, and proudly displayed her artwork. At 12 years old, she had helped change a community. One night, sitting on our front porch beside the same ramp that began it all, Nova asked, "Mom, do you think she ever understood why she was wrong?" I considered. "I hope so. But even if she didn't, you helped everyone else understand." Nova smiled. "I'm glad we stayed. It means other kids won't have to go through this alone." That moment proved what I always knew. It wasn't just about a ramp or a rule or even the law. It was about belonging. And Nova proved she didn't need to fit into someone else's mold. She built a new one. One where she, and kids like her, could thrive. If you're facing discrimination, don't walk away, stand firm. Document everything. Know your rights. And fight. Because sometimes the quiet ones change the world.